Took a look at this morning. Was gapping up on some news. Kind of looked at some of the key levels to watch out for, more so being that $2 range, and that 240, 245 range. It had a bit of a breakout just on the bell, just in the open, but couldn't really hold. Flushed down, broke down a little bit, kind of consolidated a little bit by the 2 area, and then is wedged up and is now almost going for another test of that 245 range. Um, we're just in after hours. I think it's not going to see enough volume to really make that break. It's after hours on a Friday, so most people are closing out for the day. I think it needs to really hit. I mean, probably that 2.5 to 2.6 needs to break that for really any possible squeeze. I mean, it closed above V, right above VWAP, and so it has potential on Monday. And there definitely is going to be a lot of people who've gotten in short, on the spell in that 2.6 to 2.45 range. So where a lot of volume has come in on the sell-off in the morning. So it has potential. I mean, it is a low float as well, so you kind of add those two together, plus the gap on the daily chart. It has potential for a big run. It was a possibility this morning. Just didn't see the follow through on the buy in order to get that, in order to fill that gap. It broke the 245, had a little bit of test of higher, but just couldn't hold. And so I think really the same levels that were in play this morning are the same levels to kind of look for on Monday. This $2 range in terms of support. If it breaks that, it might not be able to really hold up or go for a bigger move on the upside. Might just see further breakdown. And then on the other hand, if we break 245, more so that 245 to 2.6 range, it has potential to fill up, fill the gap up, possibly to 4, or the bigger side of the gap would be like closer to 7. It just needs a lot more volume and follow through, but it's in range, for Monday. If it gets attention, depends on what else kind of happens on Monday in terms of any other news, what people decide to focus and trade on. All right, let's take a look at MITQ. We looked at this one this morning. Kind of established levels from the daily, looking at like the 158 to 172 range. It was showing a little weakness in the pre-market, not enough volume, sort of fading down. It moved up decent on the open, but very volatile. You see these huge candles and wicks. Definitely mean there's a lot of indecision and not really a big sway to one or the other. Let's see, check the low float, so not unexpected. You see a little bit of wedge, kind of at this 172 level, which we said we established or saw kind of from the pre-market, or rather from the daily, and then we also saw it touch that on the pre-market, kind of wedge towards that, get a breakout, but not as much volume as you'd want. R size decreasing, and so then you can see it kind of just selling off here, and then ultimately, people probably got in, try to risk off 1.8. It breaks 1.8, hard flushes down that 172, probably triggers even more stop losses. Just not much confidence or strength rather behind it. Breaks their VWAP, and then it kind of finds this consolidation level for a little bit at the 157 that we established earlier. Kind of establishes that, or kind of consolidates around that, in between that and this 144 level. I don't want to say almost for the whole day, but pretty much we do see a little bit of an ascending wedge, possibly for a break of 160. Kind of, it was probably near the when VWAP was right around there. You see a little bit of a breakout, but volume is just so light, can't really get any follow through. So you kind of again see with the weakness of it, no volume follow through, and then once it starts to fall, flushes out hard, it's going to be triggering tons of stop losses. People getting all the positions accumulated over this time of this wedge up, just absolutely flushed down. Kind of find that support again at 145, and then that's what's been consolidating between that and the 157 level. Possibly have potential for an upside move. I mean, if it reclaims VWAP, I think it really needs to break this 172 level for anything really on the upside. However, if we can't really hold this 145 level much of anymore, probably going to see a fade down back to 125, 13, that 128 level. It's pretty strong on the daily in terms of a kind of an inflection point. So probably would find a home there if it can't really support or find support at this 143. Now let's look at CYN. We looked at this yesterday, gapping up. Looked at it this morning. It was pretty volatile yesterday. Made a huge move on the open and kind of flushed down a couple times pretty hard. But then ultimately closed around VWAP around that $2 range. Kind of held that throughout after hours, and then it really was almost more of a slow grind throughout the day. Just kind of slowly grinding up volume. Nothing I would say really that stands out. Have some volatile candles in here. You look, test up of 2.5, volume kind of decreasing, test up again, huge breakout, RSI decreasing with the weakness, and then you show kind of there's a little bit of weakness sign there. Flushes out, but still ultimately kind of wedges up all the way to 284 in the after hours. The high of yesterday was about 246 or 245. So you kind of see that wedging towards that, and this other level of like 2.3s, kind of almost a risk off probably for some short positions from the day before as well as in the after hours. So you see a breakout of that, and then also a breakout of the 245 range, which is really probably the more key level of 245. That's where you see this bigger volume on the day, break it through then 2.6. Kind of hovering around that right now. It's just so volatile. That's where you see these huge up and down candles. Really not for the faint of heart to get in this. I mean, if you are looking maybe at real short timelines or just almost holding and forgetting, but a little bit hard to establish a trend like that right now. I think, if it holds this 245 range, could possibly see more of an uptrend. However, it is made a pretty significant move today. I mean, open was 187, close is 269 on almost a quarter of the volume from the day yesterday. So it's almost in a sense a little bit extended. I would say unless it filings, big follow through on volume, most likely it's probably going to fade. I mean, seems to have pretty good support over the past day and a half or so at 2, maybe with a couple steps in between there, but I think ultimately a fade to 2, over next week sometime is probably more likely without any other significant catalysts.